Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. And today, I'm going to talk about something. I'm not quite sure what. I didn't think about that before I pushed record. I was just driving away from Rebay, thinking about Rebay stuff. I guess I'll talk a little bit more about the conflicted persons and the groups and individuals thing. So, that score thing is not obviously intended to represent how the scoring ought to be done. It makes no distinctions, right? It just says, well, you got these four, let's do all the permutations, add it up and see what happens. I'm not saying that's how it ought to be. I'm just saying that's a starting spot, and then you gotta kind of finagle out what the modifiers would be. For example, you could simply go like, well, you divide it by the multiple of the two numbers of the two slot numbers. So you go, okay, well, if it's in the second and third slot, then you multiply whatever number that gets by 6. So the 1, 4, you multiply by 4. That would make any sense. You could do it multiply by 6 or by 4. If it's a 2, 3, if it's the 1, 4, multiplied by 8. If it's the 1, 2, you multiply by 8. If it's the 1, 3, you multiply by 4. If it's the 2, 3, you multiply it by 2. And if it involves the fourth slot, you don't multiply it by anything. The reasoning there would be, well, that's your inverse proportional of the first slot, so it doesn't really do anything. I think that's like a better approach, right? But the point of it is this. I want to know what it is about type how that relates to orientation on groups and individuals. Because to my mind, this is basically where we go awry as a society in terms of failing to understand one another. Is all around this issue, groups versus individuals. And I think the reason we so completely fail to understand each other is that there's an absolute certainty amongst most people that if an institution does something, then the institution is responsible for the outcome. In reality, it's just a metaphor to say the institution does something. What happens instead is individuals who have been tasked with representing the common interests of the individuals within the group, that person has set in motion some actions, and then those individuals, their actions have set in motion some other actions, and then those individuals, their actions have done something, for example. It's critical that we remember that actually the only people who can do things are people, human people. Groups can't do things, government can't do things, churches can't do things, businesses can't do things, people do things. We use the group name as a shorthand for saying a bunch of people working in coordination under a central both protocol and hierarchy have coordinated to each do components of a larger piece of work that resulted in X. We don't want to say that, so we just say the group did. But of course the group didn't do it. No, groups never do anything. Groups do not do things. They cannot do things. Correct that. They absolutely can do one thing only. They can coordinate to act as a group to move physical objects. If you got 6 people lifting something, they are working as a group, and then it's the group doing something, not any individual. However, even in that circumstance, what you're really saying is they're each doing individual tasks that are coordinated not only in terms of purpose, but also in terms of time, so that they're doing it at the same time. That's all you're saying. So, regardless, ultimately, it's individuals to do things. Groups can't do things. Institutions can't do things. That is why it's so critical, for example, that we understand what government is better. Government is a bunch of institutions, a bunch of individuals, and protocols. So, when we elect somebody to represent our interests, for example, in the Congress, that's not what we're doing. We're saying, you, individual, will probably act as an individual more like I would act myself than that other guy. So I'm going to vote for you because you're going to act more like me than the other guy. That's not choosing a representative. That's hoping to see your perspectives win. If we really had a representative, he'd have to vote as we told them to. We don't have representatives. They have constituents, right? We're their constituency. It doesn't actually make them a representative, though. They're not representing anyone except themselves and their own conscience. I would not favor a system that said representatives have to reflect the will of the people. I would not favor a system that said your job is to be a machine that behaves as is indicated by the polling numbers from your district. Absolutely not. Because democracy is not the answer. Democracy isn't at all. Representation is not the answer at all. It's the answer to how do we fuck shit up more? For sure. Now, it's not the answer for countless reasons. But first and foremost, it's not the answer because no one has ownership of it. If you want something done properly, the person doing it has to have ownership over the thing that he does. Now, that ownership doesn't have to be property ownership necessarily. I mean ownership in a psychological sense. That if I am extrinsically motivated to do something, and that is why I am doing it, I do not have ownership over my choice to do X or Y. I have sold my ownership of that for today. I've written that is that you can buy this many of my hours for your paycheck. And in that instance, well, obviously, you're going to you have ownership of the money that you get for the work you do, but you don't have ownership of the work you do. In a financial sense, you might still have ownership of it in a psychological sense, though. If, in fact, you're given a lot of free rein to make choices and direct the way the play is going, then depending on the type, you may not even care about whether or not you're getting the money part of it or not. For me, I didn't really care about money at all at my old job. I was happy staying there indefinitely because it afforded me basically endless liberty and a sandbox, a well-resourced sandbox, which I preferred to being more well-resourced myself, so to speak, because I spend so much of my time, and nowadays a lot less, I'm not working there 40 hours a week, but I spend so much of my time working there and building that whole program up from nothing, that obviously I felt a great deal of ownership over it psychologically. At no point did I feel as though I had financial ownership over it. I didn't think that I deserved more money. I didn't think that, hey, that's really my work and now you think it's yours because you paid for it. Well, yeah, it is yours because you paid for it. That's fine. I don't care. I can always make more work, right? See, this is the thing. You hire me because, wow, Eric, you come up with such great shit and so much of it so fast. That curriculum, right? But, woman, did you think I ran out of ideas? Did you think, well, you're going to squeeze all the good ideas out of me and keep them for yourself, and then, I'll be fucked because I won't have any more ideas and nothing to work with? And, no, it's ridiculous. I've got endless ideas about stuff like that. More importantly, if you're going to pull that shit, now guess what I have endless ideas about him too? How to utterly and completely annihilate you, to destroy you, to grind you into shit. That's my life's ambition. One of us, long list of them, but for sure it's never changing. I'm never going to stop trying to do that. Every chance I get, I will humiliate her and degrade her and attempt to feast upon her dignity to whatever extent I can. This sounds really harsh, these things I'm saying, and people are like, how can you be such an awful person, Eric? No, it's not harsh. It's not harsh at all, because if this woman would acknowledge anything, would be willing to sit down and talk with me, even a human, would be willing to show any sign of basic human decency or remorse or anything like that, or even admit, yeah, I was just trying to fuck you anyway, but you got me, I was trying to do it. You're right, but I don't care, I still hate you. Fine, at that point, beef's over as far as I'm concerned. All she gotta do is admit I'm right. All she gotta do is admit that, yes, she illegally tried to fuck me. All she gotta do is say, yeah, it's true, Eric, I tried to manufacture cause so I could fire you without breaching your contract so you wouldn't sue me, and yeah, it's true, I did defraud all the parents. Yeah, it's true, I did lie to you on purpose to convince you that I was not going to fire you so that you stick around until I could fire you at a time when it wouldn't be possible for you to get another job right away or compete against me right away. Or so I thought. Too bad, bitch. I'm a lot more resourceful than you think. Anyway, the point is, she did a bunch of awful stuff to me. And then, since then, I have undergone this long battle that's now over, and I won that battle. This battle was much more important than the battle for work, frankly. The battle over at work was just a throwdown between my eternal optimism and faith in people and this shocking data that I had to come to terms with. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before, where somebody was trying to, there's no other way to put it. She was just straight up doing her best to fuck me as hard as she possibly could. And so that had never happened to me before. And what's happened since has been a much longer, much more protracted, and much more important battle. A battle for the souls of myself and my friends and my family and everyone. Everyone who knows me and is around me and familiar with the situation. The battle for the souls, because what happened is people were very fixated on my tone. Like, well, I don't like the way you're talking, I don't think that it's a good idea to be so negative. And you sound obsessed, Eric, and so maybe you should go see someone. You sound so angry. You can imagine how frustrated I got, right? I don't hear you guys expressing a lot of words about her behavior. I hear a lot of doubt of me and things saying I'm crazy and stuff like that. And yet you haven't addressed any of the facts that I pointed out. The best you can do, come up with, is to say that basically you don't believe me because you think I'm crazy. And that's basically what happened, right? So what I'm saying is I had to fight. I had to fight for my definition of reality. I was not going to allow myself to ever get gaslighted again. My last wife, my second wife, my ex-wife, she gaslighted the fuck out of me for years. Just did the kind of job only an ESFJ can do in convincing you there's something wrong with you. You know, and just shutting me down at every fucking juncture about every goddamn little thing. So, and this is what broke up our marriage, is that she was wrong. She was dead wrong. And she abandoned me because she thought I was crazy. And the facts have proven the exact opposite to be the case. And I told her that the whole fucking time. And the thing is, she never had any good reason to address anything that I was saying, right? She wouldn't address that. She'd address my tone. That would just make me even more furious. Who the fuck cares about my fucking tone? What are the words I am saying? What do those words mean? Can you respond with words that mean something that are responsive to the meaning that I said? You know? This is a rant. 17-minute rant. I don't even know what this is about. Thanks for watching Talk with Famous People. I don't know if this one's going up either, but if it does, thanks for watching Talk with Famous People. If you made it all the way to the end of the rant, good job. I officially announced you official Immanuel Kant for the day because you got to the end of this rant. It's a rhyme, see?